Today's subject is tone deaf, out of touch. Hearing the drum of an unwanted melody and allowing its rhythm to reverberate in our ears will surely rattle the reproduction of that same annoying sound again and again. Therefore, we must learn to tune out the sharp hiss of feedback of this world, otherwise classified as noise. You can literally be in the orchestra pit of a furied recital of melodic chaos without hearing one note, not a sound. Training your oratory ears to only hear the sound waves of the sweet symphonic sounds pleasing to your senses is a learned skill that will more than serve you. Now, friends, let us hear this message.
Throughout our godhood journey, we are faced with so much contrast of what we want and what we don't want. This happened to me so much so at first, I was too consciously aware of it. It literally became the second job of my 3D life to decipher what was a good thought or bad thought, to ensure I didn't put too much stock into negative vibes, thus creating something I ultimately didn't want. Over time, especially since becoming a student of Neville Goddard and applying my human divinity, it's gotten more than easy. It's actually become effortless to tune out what I don't want to hear. I've slowly, but surely fallen out of touch with what I'm not interested in hearing the annoying buzz of. My best friend, Aubryn, constantly calls me out of touch when it comes to how I earn money and how much credit is readily available to me. I've worked for a music publisher for 11 years, earning a 6-figure salary. I also usually earn 6 figures in music royalties annually. As far as credit is concerned, across 13 credit cards, not counting my 3 Amex charge cards, I have close to $500,000 of credit borrowing power. Now, this has not always been the case. I've had tax liens and grew up poor in the housing projects. However, poverty is not a melody I hum anymore. I'm so far removed from it. It's almost like it never happened. I don't think about it, nor do I want to. I simply don't hear the drumline of poverty anymore, even when I hear others sing its sad composition note for note. I no longer hear the cue of poverty no matter how many instruments ring its medleys in the headlines or on TV. My best friend says I've forgotten where I've come from, and that I'm an ostrich with my head in the sand, for which I graciously thanked him for noticing, which pissed him off. I'm not being haughty or arrogant when I say I don't want to remember where I've come from, if where I've come from was not a good place. Becoming tone deaf to poverty is literally music to my ears, pun intended. Without effort, I've revised and erased growing up in poverty out of my God memory. The bourgeois bubble where I now live, shop, and play is my only reality. The harsh drums of being poor is not a song for me to remember or keep time with. My friend also mentioned while there's a huge housing crisis in America, my 10-year-old cat has her own room with Hello Kitty furniture and a walk-in closet solely dedicated to her litter box. He also mentioned how I shop at high-end grocery stores and buy premium gasoline without being fazed by inflation. I told him, I just don't think about it, and that inflation is not on the playlist of my human God life experience. Allow me to caution you. I'm not telling any of you to forego your responsibilities or to be careless with your spending. I'm a high earner, but I'm very strict with my budget simultaneously. My point here is over time, throughout your godhood journey, you'll become very good at not hearing what you don't want to hear. After a while, the sound waves of anything undesired will fade away. Being tone deaf in this instance is a good thing. Don't consciously strain to hear what is playing underneath the unwanted static. You don't want to hear that? Turn a deaf ear to it. Though you may be in earshot of the somber sounds of someone else's requiem, you don't have to bob your head to the beat, tap your foot, or snap your fingers in rhythmic agreement. That is not your tune, so tune that garbage out. My friend also mentioned when he comes to Brentwood, where I live, he never hears that loud, glaring hip-hop bass music blasting from any cars. That's because we have a noise ordinance in Brentwood. disturb the peace with loud music, or even a loud muffler on your car, and you'll be promptly ticketed. The ritzy city of Brentwood literally doesn't want to hear it. It is by law and by design within the city limits that the residents have chosen to be tone deaf. The crazy part is, I never even noticed this until my friend pointed it out. He calls where I live Plushville, which is apropos and a syncopated groove I choose to lend my ear to. Thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also, like this video and any other you listen to alert the YouTube algorithm. Until next video, peace.